The train stopped deep in the forest. There were no signs, no lights, just trees and soldiers with rifles. The Polish officers stepped off one by one, thinking they were being transferred again. They had grown used to silence. Ever since their capture by the Soviets in 1939, they had lived in camps, waiting, writing letters home, unsure of what came next. Many still wore their uniforms. Some still carried Bibles. Most were educated men, doctors, professors, poets, judges. Over 20,000 of them, the best of Poland. They didn't know they had been sentenced to die. The Soviet Union had invaded Poland 2 weeks after Germany. While the West watched Hitler, Stalin moved quietly, claiming his share. And with Poland crushed, Stalin's secret police, the NKVD, was given a grim order: eliminate the Polish elite. Anyone who might resist, anyone who might remember freedom. They brought the men to the forest in groups of 10. Each was told they were to be photographed and released. Instead, they were led into a soundproof room. Some resisted when they saw the plastic sheets. Others whispered prayers. Each man was shot in the back of the head. One bullet, then dragged out, dumped into mass graves and covered, and then another, and another. For weeks, the killing continued. Deep in the Katyn forest near Smolensk, more than 4,000 bodies were buried in secret. Other sites were scattered across Soviet-controlled territory, all of them full of Polish uniforms and silence. The world didn't know. The families didn't know. Until 1943. German soldiers advancing through the USSR discovered the graves. They opened them, carefully, photographically, and announced Soviet guilt to the world. The Soviets denied everything. They blamed the Nazis. They insisted the Germans had committed the murders after 1941. But the bodies told the truth. Polish ID cards, dated newspapers, and winter coats still clung to the corpses, all from before the Germans ever arrived. Western governments knew, but they needed Stalin to win the war. So the Katyn Massacre was buried again, this time under politics. In London, the Polish government in exile demanded justice. Roosevelt and Churchill looked the other way. Allied unity came first. Truth could wait. Polish officers remained missing, their graves known but unspoken. Families received no answers. Mothers wept without a place to mourn. For decades, the Soviet Union maintained the lie. It was forbidden to speak of Katyn inside Poland. Teachers avoided the topic. Journalists vanished for asking. A generation grew up with the silence carved into their history. And then, in 1990, the Kremlin finally admitted it. A single page, signed by Stalin and top officials, ordered the execution. The names of the dead were released in books and spreadsheets. Some families finally had closure. Others never found the bodies. No one was punished. The Katyn Massacre wasn't just a mass killing. It was a surgical strike against a people's identity. The minds of a nation were lined up and shot. Teachers, writers, leaders. The future of Poland, destroyed in a forest under Soviet stars. Today, the graves are marked. Candles burn on anniversaries. Children read the names in schools. But the ground still remembers. Beneath the trees, the earth holds thousands who vanished without war, without trial, without mercy. Thank you for listening to Last Post History. Subscribe for more true stories from the world at war.